All right, week 30 of the Design O Rama. This week we are focused on a very specific UX writing and UI area for consideration, and that is error messaging. And for this week, there are a handful of resources that I'll point out. Part of what's interesting about this is that a lot of the information that we have specifically at IXDF is going to be from a course perspective. But there is another fun one that relates to day one here. One here is this course on how to design better error messages in UX. It is one of the master classes, and it's very good. Vipul here is excellent, and just ends up being a good way to catch up quickly on designing better error messages. The other is a course, Interaction Design for Usability, and it includes some lessons on error messaging and creating errors and error states. What I would say is that if you've been having fun with all of these UI courses or these UI challenges where we're dealing with prototyping and UI design, this could be a fun one. It's a comprehensive one. It's one of the bigger ones, 65 hours over 17 weeks estimated. So it is one of the bigger courses, but it'll be very thorough, and it'll focus on interaction design for usability specifically. So it should be really good. There's another one I'm actually just going to actively search right now, which is an error, and I believe it's an article. Oh, here you go. How to design and how to test 404 pages. This article is a lot of fun, partly just because it has a lot of interesting and fun examples of 404 error pages, and that relates to day one, and then how to test them. These two articles will be excellent resources for you. But it's really straightforward. Day one is talking about an error page. It says to think beyond 404 not found, include clear messaging, and you think about what it would mean for someone in their journey on a website or in a tool. On a website specifically would relate directly to this 404 not found. And they land on a page that they didn't anticipate you finding, whether it's an error in how the system is structured, the code's written, whether it's page that became orphaned, or if you tried to go to something directly and simply couldn't find it. But those two topics will be very helpful for this. I should say those two articles should be very helpful for this. And the output's just mocking the error page with copy and visual treatment. It can be a lot of fun and be a fun open-ended exercise. Day two, success notifications. Prototype a success notification for key user action. The examples here are the form is submitted, a file is uploaded, an order is complete. Decide between these various modalities of producing error messages or success messages on a page. And then try to create an interactive prototype showing the notification in action. So you have that final state where the person selects something, and then you have the state where it produces the success notification. Day three, helpful tooltip. And it may be fun to go out and just explore the different types of tooltips that exist and where they're successful, where you feel they'd be beneficial to your particular application. But create a tooltip for a complex feature. Keep the copy short, precise, and supportive. Show it in context, triggered by a hover tap or click. And the end here should be an interactive prototype or a mock-up that shows the tooltip. I think an interactive prototype would be very helpful because one of the challenges with tooltips is how they enter and leave the space, or how they enter and stay in the space, how they sort of support interaction, support the context that they're in, while also not being intrusive. Day four, inline validation. Add inline validation to a form design. Design states for success, error, and in progress. Use copy color iconography to guide the user. And the result here will be a form item. You could certainly do an entire form with inline validation. I'd say if you wanted to stretch yourself, you could think across different data entry types, whether it's a date picker or text entry or formatted text entry or paragraph, and think about how an error would show up there and sort of the different challenges that exist. For instance, with the date picker, sometimes they appear below the control, and what if you put your error message below the control and then they go to then correct it and their error message disappears because it's hidden by the date picker? Or with a paragraph, if it's below the control and it's a tall box, maybe it doesn't get read. But things to think about. And ultimately, you could redesign the entire form, or you could just do a single control or multiple controls and just show the different error states. And again, it may be good to have it interactive to see what happens when it appears and when it goes away and how it impacts the controls around it. Day 5, system error message. So redesign a system error message for clarity. Make it human, actionable, and easy to understand. Consider tone and accessibility. These should be before and after examples of the system error message. And it may be beneficial to look up system error messages ahead of time and look up topics on it and understand exactly what they are and how people speak to them and where they show up. Because it is something specific. And, in order to think about this as a weekly challenge, I would say just think about all these within the same context. The one odd one is going to be the 404 error page. But you could think of that in terms of a web application where someone's working in a browser and they just decide to type in a targeted URL within the app's URL, and what sort of a 404 might look like. An error that says, hey, you tried to access a part of the application using the URL. That simply doesn't exist. So really actionable challenge this week. It's excellent for a holistic challenge as well as individual challenges, because you can approach 5 different UIs and UI styles if you want, or you can adopt the challenge of trying to make it work cohesively across one experience. And it is very much portfolio ready. Once you finish each one of these, there are things that you could add to a comprehensive starter design system, or you could add to your sort of UI library. Regardless, I wish you the best of luck getting this challenge accomplished and exploring it, and I look forward to seeing you either on day 1 of this week or on week 31.